When John Lennon wrote Imagine, he wasn't merely composing a song, he was crafting a vision, a quiet revolution wrapped in simplicity, a piece of music that has become both mirror and guide for humanity. From the very first piano notes, something inside you softens, as if the melody itself is reaching gently into the corners of your mind, inviting you to consider possibilities beyond the world as you know it. Released in 1971, at a time marked by war, political unrest, social upheaval, and widespread disillusionment, Imagine arrived not as an anthem of defiance, but as a subtle, persistent challenge, daring the world to rethink the boundaries, both seen and unseen, that divide us. Imagine there's no heaven, he sings, not as a denial of faith, but as a plea to remove the walls that separate belief systems, to see one another without judgment, labels, or suspicion, to encounter each person simply as a human being, worthy of compassion. His vision of a borderless, peaceful humanity is radical, yet it is expressed in language so simple, so childlike, that it disarms even the most cynical listener, showing Lennon's genius in taking ideas so vast and making them feel intimate, possible, even within reach. The song's minimal, stripped-down structure mirrors its message, proving that peace itself requires nothing elaborate. No grandiose arrangements, no ornate instrumentation, only sincerity, openness and hope. As the song unfolds, its lyrics operate like a quiet prayer for unity. Imagine there's no countries, he continues, inviting listeners to envision a world where lines drawn on maps no longer determine who is worthy of freedom, respect or compassion, while his soft, steady voice carries both weariness and hope, a man who has seen the fractures of the world, yet still dares to believe in a better one. Imagine no possessions, he sings, a line that prompts hesitation, reflection, and even discomfort, forcing the listener to question deeply ingrained assumptions about wealth, ownership, and the markers of status and power. And yet beneath the surface of that question lies a universal truth that transcends ideology, that true freedom, true joy, and true peace are not found in what we have, but in how we love, in how we care, in how we choose to live without letting possessions and pride define our worth. That is what makes Imagine not merely a song, but a mirror, reflecting back to each listener possibility of a better world, a world shaped by compassion, understanding, and the courage to hope. Though many dismissed it as naive or overly idealistic, the song's endurance proves the necessity of dreamers, those willing to speak of peace when war feels inevitable, of unity when division dominates, of empathy when apathy feels easier. Every time it plays, whether at concerts, protests, memorials, vigils, or private moments of reflection, it reignites the same spark of possibility, reminding listeners that the world does not change through inaction, that hope is not passive, and that imagination is the first, indispensable step toward transformation. The song no longer belongs solely to Lennon. It has transcended authorship and become humanity's anthem, a universal prayer and a shared dream. Its haunting simplicity, just piano, gentle percussion, and a voice both human and ethereal, mirrors the fragility of its message, proving that less can touch the heart more deeply than excess. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one, he admits, acknowledging skepticism while connecting generations of believers, artists, thinkers, and ordinary people who dare to hope despite evidence, to dream despite the weight of reality. Those words capture humanity's eternal struggle, the tension between longing and reality, between imagination and action, between what is and what could be. Imagine is both anthem and introspection, asking listeners to consider what kind of world they contribute to each day, lingering in the silence after the final note, challenging us to live the ideals it evokes rather than merely admire them from afar. Decades later, the song feels more necessary than ever, a compass for a fractured, often tumultuous world, reminding us that change does not begin with governments, systems, or institutions. It begins with imagination, with empathy, with the courage to envision a planet where compassion outweighs greed, understanding replaces fear, and love is not a privilege, but a universal way of life. Its power lies not in ideology or theory, but in an intimate, timeless truth. Peace is not a distant dream, not a political slogan. not a utopian concept, but a personal responsibility. And in imagining it, in daring to hold it in our hearts and minds, we take the first step toward creating it. And so the song moves millions across generations and cultures, reminding us that even simple melodies, guided by vision and sincerity, can carry profound truths, and that a single shared dream can shape the world.